Kimo Ifetayo, and I am a part of a twin.
I am Adelagun Harrington, and this woman sitting right here is my better half till death do us part.
Can you tell me your first memories of each other?
Oh my God.
For me, it was as Granny's house in
Yes.
St. James.
Yes,
I remember, well, no, it went back to when my mother passed. I have a very clear, vivid memory of being at my mother's funeral. My father held two of us in one hand, and the other one was grabbing onto his leg. At the time, it was just three of us. My middle sister and I, we are a year apart. And I remember being at the funeral, at the burial ground, and my father is threatening to jump in the hole because he was so distraught. And me and my twin sister, he's holding, and I'm like trying to calm because Kimo is crying. And I'm like, it's okay. Everything will be okay. And we were about 3 years old.
No, we were 2 years of age, and I guess he was 1.
Yes. When I tell you I have a distinct, clear memory of that, you cannot believe it.
Adelagun, we have talked about this already, and I have no memory of that.
Wow.
My first memory of us together was Granny and Daddy was going to work. And both of us were running up the steps behind him and bawling for thy kingdom come. That is my first memory of us. I have no memory of my mother's funeral. None whatsoever.
So where did you both, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Where did you both grow up, and what were some of the things you did as kids?
Well, our journey started in St. James, Kimo, at Granny's house.
Yeah, Don Donald hid in St. James.
Don Donald. So we were like 1, 2, 3 when
Yes.
my mother died. But I remember in Granny's house, sitting on the floor and taking out all the pots out of the cupboard and just banging them together, banging, crazy noise.
What I remember of Granny's house were the zillion and one fruit trees she had in the yard. I mean, my grandmother had every possible fruit: avocado, soursop, guava, cashew, mango, a variety of mango trees. And I just remember us as kids and she had a huge backyard. But to gain entry to my grandmother's house, you had to go down like 1,000 steps, and to come back out, 1,000 steps. It was a steep go down, and then her house was flat, and she had a huge backyard, and the front of the house was an incline, and she had all these cashew trees and guava trees and
lime and Portugal and all of that. So we spent those formative years running around the yard, eating everything we could get our hands on, climbing trees. Also, my grandmother's house had a ravine running through it. So when you see it rained, it was like a river. So we used to make paper boats and stuff and race each other and run down, follow the ravine all the way in the bush. So we encountered every creature. We encountered snakes, we encountered scorpions, spiders, you name it. So our life started once there. But when my mother died, we moved to Piccadilly Street. Yeah. And we lived 3 girls and Papa. We lived basically in a 1 room, but upstairs was this huge house, which my father grew up in the orphanage. So the guy who was a mentor to my father,
he was also the principal of Nelson Street Boys RC School at the time.
Yes, he was a mentor to my father. So we stayed when my mother died at the bottom of his house, but we had access to the huge house.
So how old were you when you moved there? Sorry.
About 4, 5.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
about 5. Yeah.
And so what kind of games did you play in that area? Because you were talking about scorpions and all of that in
That was at our grandmother's house.
Mhm.
You know, you do what children do. You run around. No structured games as such. You just run around, hide and seek, and you know that kind of thing. As we said, we used to race boats, make paper boats, and race it in her back ravine. And
But you know what we did on Piccadilly Street, Kimo? Remember, we used to crawl under the house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we spend a lot of time crawling under the house in these small spaces. And we used to go collect eggs because the chickens, the hens used to lay eggs under the house.
Yeah,
so we used to crawl under the house to get the eggs and come back. My father used to be like, what are you girls doing? Because my father is the kind of person, if we bump our toe, he used to get in a panic. Don't hurt yourselves. Why y'all hurting yourselves? He was that kind of father. He was very attentive. He wasn't perfect, but no parent is perfect, but he was very attentive. And he allowed us to explore. That's one of the things I loved about growing up with my father. He allowed us to explore, but then we also had structure. As children, we didn't get toys. We got books and cap guns.
Yeah,
you remember? And we had posters for the cap guns. So we would be all over, boom, 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 thief and robbers. And if we weren't doing that, we were reading books. I never had a doll as a child. I never had a tea set as a child. My father didn't want us to think as women, we had to grow up serving somebody or taking care of a house or anything like that. So he bought us cap guns and books. And that's how we grew up.
Let me say this about my father. My father chewed up books and spat them out. He was a vociferous, is that the word, reader? And he would read and read. Every time you looked at my father, he was reading. My father never traveled until very late in his life, but my father had a hunger for knowledge. That was, oh my God, you know, if you took away anything from him, you had to take that away. So you wanted to read too because you saw your father reading. My father was an exceptionally bright man. He was orphanage man. He went to St. Mary's College. He did really, really well. My father was exceptionally bright. And I believe he was such a bright man because he just gobbled down books. He had books for breakfast.
That's amazing. Yeah, so you all grew up with all of these books and surrounded in that. And
Yes.
In our little house, all around was only books. My father, books and records. You know, those music, big LP records. Music was a big part of
growing up. A big part of our life growing up. Music, and we grew up in a house where the music was loud. We didn't play soft music. We played loud music. The whole neighborhood heard when we were playing music. You know,
what kind of songs?
Jim Reeves and all the oldies.
Plantain, orators, Della Reese, Shirley.
Can you sing any for me? You remember?
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
If you had a choice of color, which one would you be, my brother? Black or white? Della Reese. So we grew up in that kind of environment.
That's fabulous. So I have one last question for you. Tell me about an adventure that you both had together as little kids, young.
Oh boy, what was Adelagun Carnival? Okay,
yes.
So
how old were you? Set us in your...
We were about 6, 7, 8-ish around that time.
But even as teenagers, even as 12 and 13, Kimo.
No, but we're not going back so far, Adelagun. 6, 7, 8. Remember, Clodagh was on the scene then, which is my youngest sister.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. My father bought us the most beautiful clothing. Kirpalanis, Stevens and Johnsons. We had the best. We used to wear Clarks to go to school. I will have you all know. Not Dick and Dora Bata sneakers. We used to wear Clarks.
Exactly.
And our father bought us the most beautiful clothing, and he will buy everything in fours. He will buy 4 of the same shoes, 4 of the same short pants, 4 of the same dresses. So every Carnival Tuesday, he will dress us all up, and he is combing our hair as well. He will dress us all up, and we'll have on the identical same clothes, and we would go to Carnival to see Carnival with my father. I mean, I cannot begin to tell you all the stares and the compliments and the things.
Yes.
Because here is this man with his 4 girl children. Everybody have on the same identical clothing. It was hilarious. But it was love, and it was really, really an experience.
We will walk straight up Charlotte Street. We will always stop by the hospital because Daddy worked at the hospital as an accountant.
Yeah, he was the accountant.
So we always stop there because he will meet up with some of his friends and stuff. So we'll stop there, lime a bit, and then we will proceed to the savannah, where we would spend the rest of the evening watching all the bands and dancing and all of that. My father was good about, if I got anything from Daddy, is that be open, enjoy life. My father knew how to enjoy life. And let me tell you, my father knew how to engage people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And everybody loved my father. Everybody loved Daddy.
But let me say this too. Every one of our outings ended up going to some fabulous restaurant, or remember the dairies, the ice cream
Queen,
Dairy Queen. No, not Dairy Queen, the dairies. Remember that fancy ice cream?
Yes.
Or we would go to Mongol's roti shop. Daddy exposed us to all the best things he could have exposed us to, because in his head, look, I have some little black girls and they're living in Laventille. So I have to show them that there is this big world.
A bigger world.
With so much great things to do, so they can aspire to greatness. And my father, that's what he was about.
We went to Little Carib when children from Laventille knew nothing about Little Carib. We were in Little Carib. We went to all the art shows and the museums. Anything came to town, Papa used to dress us up and we used to go.
That's right. All the circuses, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I actually think that you guys took us in the perfect direction, because it's coming up to Father's Day. And I think that this would be such a nice message as an homage of how much respect and love and how much your father influenced you. So I think it would be beautiful to use this as your story of so we can finish it by maybe saying, what you all, what do you think your message would be if this is used for Father's Day? Father's Day is, when is it, Elena?
June the 16th or something like that. Elena is muted. But I think it's sometime this month.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sometime this month. Kimo, what would you say, Daddy?
Oh, Daddy was everything. Daddy pointed us as women in the right direction. He wanted us to have a vision for our lives, and I think he was spot on with it. Our father encouraged us to be proud Black women. Don't take no shit from nobody. All you go out there and make a life for yourself. And he encouraged independence. My father wanted us to be independent women who did not depend on anybody for anything. And
what I remember Daddy always saying? Be able to write your own check.
Yep.
Be able to write your own check in this world.
Yep.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing that then. I think just loads of life lessons.